What's popping my pimples? Welcome back to Wallace Woodpecker, Arin Hanson, and the Sonic community. It's such a well-known beef that it has an entire page dedicated to it on Know Your Meme. The Sonic series is no stranger to attracting controversial figures, including, but not limited to, everybody who's mean to me on Twitter. And yet, Arin Hanson is the person the community seems to hold the biggest grudge towards. But why is this? What did he do to garner such a reputation? Is it even deserved? And why did Sega choose him to be a brand ambassador for the Blue Blur? Well, before I answer all these questions, in case you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Sonic content like this. So let's address the elephant in the room for those who are unfamiliar. Who is Arin Hanson? Arin Hanson, or as I like to call him, Arin Hanson, is an artist, animator, and actor who's been a creator on the internet for longer than a majority of social media websites have existed, including the likes of Webkinz, my favorite social media site. In addition, he's also the co-founder and co-star of Game Grumps, one of the most well-known gaming channels on YouTube that's been active since 2012. How they haven't run out of things to talk about at this point is as much of a talent as every other skill I mentioned. The formation of this internet beef goes back to the start of Game Grumps. Prior, Arin, who was better known by his alias Egoraptor, had made a couple comedic cartoons about the franchise. These were beloved and showed Arin had a pretty good understanding of Sonic and its universe. But during a Game Grumps playthrough of Sonic 06, fans' feelings towards Arin would slowly begin to sour. Now, it doesn't take a keyboard warrior to make you understand that Sonic 06 is one of the worst games ever made. But throughout Arin and co-host JonTron's time playing the game, they would take the opportunity not just to mock 06, but Sonic as a whole. The most infamous case of this would be when Arin tried to argue that fan-favorite Sonic games, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, were just as bad as Sonic 06. Also, sorry for the lisp there. I was eating some food.
My question is, they've made good games like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, which are...
No.
What?
Don't even say those games are good.
I like those
They're
games.
terrible.
I don't remember 2 as much, but 1 was good.
They're both awful. They're just like this.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I bet you $1 million.
Bet you we don't have...
Play it.
We don't either have that much to bet.
Let's play it. Let's play it and see how much you really like it.
While this type of attitude towards Sonic wasn't completely uncommon for this time, with how big Game Grumps was, other people would repeat these takes as if they were their own opinions, and that these opinions were fact. Arin would make the odd Sonic comments here and there throughout the years, but these would spark nothing more than a few eye rolls and discussions on Sonic forums back in the day. This would all change in July of 2015, when the Game Grumps would play through Sonic Adventure DX. Unlike Sonic 06, where the game was notoriously broken, Sonic Adventure DX had more of its ducks in a row. While DX is a glitchier port of Sonic Adventure, it was still nowhere near the hardly functioning car crash that was Sonic 06. So, for Arin to just run into what felt like every possible glitch in a single playthrough made fans suspicious. So much so that a narrative began to form that Arin just sucked ass at Sonic games. Sonic fans felt like Arin was breaking the game on purpose and using that as a way to justify his distaste in the franchise, especially with the 3D entries. Fans claimed Arin wasn't playing these games correctly and that his inability to do so was preventing him from enjoying these titles. Now, I don't feel like there's necessarily a right or wrong way to play these games, but even I gotta admit, Arin is pretty bad at them. No shame in trying to farm content by breaking these games on purpose, but to an extent, Arin's tendency to blame the games for how bad he's doing at them would get a bit tiring. This whole thing would become a pattern where Game Grumps would play a Sonic game, they would try to break it, and then people would complain about it on Twitter. Now, there's an argument to be had here. Like, why is Arin constantly playing these Sonic games if he hates them? And I can actually tell you why pretty easily. These Sonic playthroughs did numbers for the Game Grumps. Like, the Game Grumps Let's Play of Sonic 06 in itself is seen as arguably their best playthrough and garnered millions of views per episode, with every Sonic playthrough since outperforming a lot of their other gaming videos. As Sonic fans, we need to remember something. All this was happening within the mid to late 2010s, a time where Sonic was truly in a dark age. So this constant slander from Arin, alongside the overall state of the franchise, made it to where these offhanded comments and rants that Arin would make were echoed by the public at large. a lot of Sonic fans like to single-handedly blame Arin for the public's perception of the Hedgehog during this time, especially for those who just hadn't played any of the games. And I don't think that's fair, but he was arguably the loudest detractor with the biggest platform. Now, I don't think Arin would stand by every word he says in these videos, as they're non-scripted playthroughs of video games. I'm sure if he truly wanted to talk about his thoughts on the franchise, he could write a well-thought-out tweet or do another sequelitis on the whole thing. But for Game Grumps, these videos are not made for serious Sonic discussion and shouldn't be taken as such. But alas, they were. Now, what sets Arin apart from other Sonic cynics, bars, would be that the official Sonic social media account began to both acknowledge and collaborate with him. It started in 2015 with a couple fun Twitter interactions, including Arin doing a little drawing of Big the Cat on his phone as per the Sonic social media account's request. Yeah, Aaron Weber, who managed the Sonic social media accounts at the time, had this weird, obsession with Big the Cat. This meme was a product of its time. Anyways, you also had Arin dressing up in a Sonic costume, which the Twitter account acknowledged, alongside Sonic and Eggman themselves, giving a nod to the Game Grumps series on Sonic 06. I think it's also funny to mention at this point, Aaron's co-host for the Sonic 06 playthrough had left Game Grumps years ago at this point, but it was just that iconic of a Let's Play. But then, in January of 2017, the Sonic Twitter account would do its first in-person collaboration, forcing Arin Hanson to eat a bunch of cupcakes. All because of this interaction that took place online. Then, in 2019, Sega would invite Arin, as well as the Completionist, to Japan to visit Sega of Japan's new headquarters and to check out the Tokyo Game Show. On top of performing a song with Jun Senoue, who's behind a lot of the music in the Sonic series. This would rub fans the wrong way. Here's the person they saw as constantly dragging down the Sonic brand, getting all these opportunities they wished other creators who were more positive about the franchise could get. The truth is, Arin and just Game Grumps in general were popular and brought a lot of attention to Sonic, whether positive or negative. It was attention, and in this era, Sonic needed all it could get. So, it makes sense that in this self-deprecating era for the Sonic brand, that Arin would get some special treatment. Not to mention, the social media manager at the time was also a big fan of him. 2019 would mark the last time Sega truly worked or even acknowledged Arin on their socials, with both parties going their own ways. Most likely due to both the backlash from fans and the fact that Arin Weber, the social media manager, was changing positions at the company. Since then, Sega has brought on different creators to be brand ambassadors, including the likes of Korone from Hololive, who Sonic fans are much happier with. I also did a whole video on her relationship with Sega if you want to watch that at the end of this video. As for Game Grumps, they still play the odd Sonic game here and there, and repeat their Sonic cycle to a much smaller degree. So, to summarize the beef, Sonic fans got bullied a lot on the internet during the 2010s, and Arin just so happened to be one of those figures who would criticize the franchise on a comedic web series where two dudes play video games and spitball. He was never truly a serious game critic in these videos, but he did have a lot of dumb takes that his audience would repeat and that Sonic fans would be on the receiving end of. His collaborations with Sega were mostly just social media interactions with one genuinely crazy collab, and I totally get why he would take these opportunities if, they were just handed to him on a silver platter. But in the year 2026, is it still worth treating Arin like the devil of the Sonic community? No, what are you, crazy? Believe it or not, there are things Arin does genuinely like about the franchise, like the characters and the world and the art style, among many other things. He just isn't crazy about the games, and that's fine. Sonic is now in a much better position than it was during the Game Grumps' peak in popularity. So even if Arin dunks on Sonic every now and then, it doesn't mean much of anything, especially now. He's simply playing the social media game, and I can't knock him for that. Plus, he's partially responsible for Game Overs, so I'll let it slide. But those are my thoughts. I'd love to know what yours are. Did I miss anything? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks to my patrons who make videos like this possible, and thank you for watching. Okay, bye.